just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. And he gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week. It's just, it's terrible. It's just terrible.
Where do you stand on the Burger King Whopper commercial?
That is the worst goddamn commercial. I can't stand it. First of all, I don't like Burger King. I think it's very below average for fast food. But that goddamn commercial, no, it's horrible. That's really what you wanted to ask me?
I wanted to know where you stood. Do you respect that people can't stop talking about it?
I don't, but it's not for good reasoning. I don't care about the Whopper. It's that stupid jingle stuck in my head.
So it's stuck in your head. That's where I'm trying to get at here.
I am not inclined to go to Burger King and purchase a Whopper. That instead inclines me to have a mental breakdown in a public place. That's the difference.
You see, I kind of appreciate it. It's so simple and dumb. I'm loving it for McDonald's. That seems so like hack and old. Whereas the new generation, this is the song. This is the jingle. This is what we're going for. I like it. I think I like it.
Well, I hate it. You know what I do like, Sean? That we've got the national championship being played this
the small talk.
I also
we used to be friends that did a show. Now we just do a show.
Yeah, we just do a show. Yeah, I was really looking forward to doing the show in the same room as you, but here you are in Virginia, and I'm going to media availability tomorrow without you. So I'm just going to have to find a random person to fight because I promised everyone I was going to fight you at Radio Row. Actually, it's called Audio Ave for the national championship. I know. We were donking around with other names like Broadcast Boulevard was another one that would.
Every time you irritate me today, that's coming on.
If this video gets copyright claimed because of that song, I swear to God. Joe DeLeone, Sean Anderson, two former college football players from the University of Rhode Island. We are doing our national championship preview. We've got TCU listeners that are very eager to hear us talk about the Horned Frogs. My gear didn't come in time, so sadly I'm not going to be able to wear that on today's show. Sean, before we get into that, though, can you just tell our listeners where they can go to bet on the game?
Last time I checked the line, it was at 12.5 favoring Georgia. And if you want to place that bet, I know who I'm going to bet on. What?
No, don't jinx them. No betting on this game if that's what the line is. There's no jinxing of the Horned Frogs. This is a pro TCU show. We have said that the entire year. We have spoken highly of TCU. Do not bet on TCU to cover you specifically. Our listeners can go do it. I encourage our listeners to go do it at BetOnline. You cannot. You're not jinxing them.
I'm a pro money. I'm a pro money guy, not a pro team guy.
Listen here, dickhead. You better not bet on this game.
Why not? Why can't
Because if they lose, I am coming for you. You are one of the biggest jinxes.
Oh, come on.
Yes, absolutely.
No.
You're a massive
Joe DeLeone jinx.
I'm also a jinx, which is why I'm not taking that bet and I'm not betting on the game.
Here's what I'll do. I'll take a bet, but I'm not going to say who I'm betting on.
Fine.
Does that work?
Yes.
If you're going to bet, I also encourage this for everybody. If you want to know how betting works, go to betonline.ag. You'll find the latest odds, team matchup info, player news, and game trends at BetOnline. Don't talk about your bet. That gets God involved, and he doesn't want anybody to win. So we're going to keep it on the down low, and we're going to make our bets at BetOnline. And if you want to, you can join and receive your 50% welcome bonus with your first deposit. Make sure to use promo code BLEAV, that's BLEAV, to receive your rewards. BetOnline, where the game starts. So Joe does make a good point. Let's all keep our bets on the down low. We'll keep them quiet, and we'll take TCU.
Sorry, I'm fixing Ryan back. He wants to come on the FCS show. Ryan Roberts. He just wants to come on. That's it. He just wants to come on. He likes the show.
Has he messaged the GM?
You're not the GM. You're.
I know I'm not the GM. I'm the one. I'm the mic number one.
You're the CC. You're Captain Cuck, and that's your only role on this show. All right, let's talk about this game, Sean. TCU versus Georgia. By the way, the kickoff time for this game is weird. It's at 4:30 here. It's 7:30 on the East Coast, which is kind of
Thank
annoying,
God.
but I
I'm
get it.
tired of starting the national championship and not having it end until like 12:30 or 1 in the morning.
You stay up that late anyways. I do have any 2:30 in the
What are you
morning text messages.
sleepwatching
Like,
me?
you text me when I'm asleep on the West Coast. You're up way later than I am. So I don't know why you care about the time. It's annoying for me because I have to leave work early. Otherwise, I get stuck here
Oh,
and then I
boo-hoo.
have to sit and watch the whole game in the office, and I don't want to do that.
You'll be
So
watching it in your car. Liar.
I am
You're
not.
a
Yeah.
bad
So
driver.
actually, you don't even know how many times I've watched games while I'm driving.
I know you're a terrible driver, and
Uh,
I trust me, I could guess the amount. I bet I'm pretty close.
it's usually 3 times a week, but TCU versus Georgia. We've talked about what got us to this point. If you missed the recap episode, go check it out. Sean, I want to take this from the angle of what each team needs to do to win this game, starting with TCU. TCU, as we've talked about, and you said this, you quoted this. They're the magic team. Magic team, magic team, magic team is the words that you used on the last show.
That's
They
right.
are unexpected. The results that they produce, no matter how much analysis you do, it doesn't freaking matter because they always outperform the expectation. But Sean, one of the first main things for me, obviously they've got the juice, they've got the confidence, they've got the energy, everything working in their favor. Separate from that, they got to get the ball out quick, Sean. I am legitimately worried on how effectively they can handle Jalen Carter and the rest of that Georgia defensive front. Ohio State did a pretty good job of neutralizing him, but Ohio State's offensive line has more NFL draft prospects on it than TCU does. Steve Avila, who is their best guard, their best offensive lineman, is going to probably have to have a big game, but probably going to get a lot of double teams on Jalen Carter in this game if they want to keep themselves clean and also keep Max Duggan from running for his life for most of this game.
I'm most worried for TCU about the emotional dump that came after beating Michigan, because I think that they were so tired when they lost to Kansas State in the Big 12 championship game. I just think they were exhausted. It was an emotional dump all season, but it was regular season. They got a break and they came out firing on all cylinders versus Michigan. Then we get emotional dump 2.0, where the stakes are doubled, and now you have some time to practice and you have some time to breathe, but it's not that much time. So if they were at Party City, not the actual store, but if they were Celebration City is what I'll call it. And then it's back at practice, and now it's, oh God, we got to face Georgia, and what if we can't do it again? Obviously, they're going to try to have some confidence. They're going to try to do that, but I'm worried about the emotional side of things for TCU, given that it's pretty obvious that they also understand the situation that they're in, of not luck, but how the hell did this happen? And keep on working through it, keep on fighting and try to be as prepared as possible for Georgia. But the only way to really beat talent is to be more prepared than talent. And they both kind of got dished the same amount of preparation time for each of each other. And I'm almost certain that Kirby is going to have these guys locked in. I'm pretty certain that he's going to have them locked in, trying to go for a back-to-back. So it comes down to who can have – can Sonny Dykes coach better and have a more locked-in team than
I don't
Kirby Smart?
see. I'm not worried about the coaching matchup because Sonny and the whole coaching staff have proven that they are one of the most underrated coaching staffs in all of college football. Like the way that they prepared and out schemed and out coached Michigan, I have confidence. Like this is a really big head to head matchup. This isn't like a sheer luck instance. They had a really well schemed up game against Michigan. And I know that they're going to come into the situation properly schemed. The other thing too, that like I understand where you're coming from, but I push back a little bit because it's like they won that game pretty not handedly, but they were confident at the end of that game. They came out of that game with confidence and with the right momentum. So I feel like TCU, that's going to help them. That's like a big confidence boost to beat the number 2 team in the country, the team that everyone was saying that you're supposed to get your asses kicked by, and you show up like that. Like I understand the emotional dump aspect, and that is the flip side of it. If you are not mentally strong enough and you're going to just let that get to you, 100% could cause you to just play flat and come out flat. But I think the confidence levels are super high right now for this TCU team.
Can Max Duggan beat Stetson Bennett in a shootout?
Can Stetson Bennett beat Max Duggan in a shootout? I think that's the more important question.
I asked you the question first. I think that Duggan can.
And that was my retort.
I think that the Georgia defense gives Stetson Bennett enough help where in a shootout, if Duggan is scoring 2-1 versus Bennett, then that Georgia defense, as talented as it is, will make it 2-2 or 1-1.
For me, though, what I've seen from Duggan the whole year, and I saw him do it against Michigan, Quentin Johnston, and I know there might not be a Kendre Miller in this game, but all the other receiving threats that TCU has, not big name players, but we know that you can have a guy go for 2 for 50 or 1 for 30 and have these big chunk plays in addition to Quentin Johnston. I think that they've got enough splash plays under their belt like they've had all season long. This is the most explosive offense in the country, and it took that claim after Tennessee lost Hendon Hooker. They are so quick to score, so quick to pick up 30 yards.
I saw it.
And I just don't think that Stetson Bennett is as capable of that. I think Duggan's the more dangerous one in this situation.
I would agree. And I think that being so, Georgia is going to eliminate the opportunity for Duggan to run. I think that what they're practicing, I don't think they're practicing a ton of coverage. I don't think they're scheming against a possible tight end seam route. I think that they are practicing on stopping Duggan on designed quarterback runs. That's what I think they're trying to stop, because that makes that TCU offense so dynamic. The team has been practicing, Georgia and TCU have been practicing all year on the simple things. They're practicing on stopping inside zone. They're practicing on stopping mesh routes, all of the different route concepts, whatever you want to call it. That's what they've been practicing. Quarterback runs designed by one of the best, or I'd say most effective running quarterbacks that we've seen in the country when he needed to be, Max Duggan. That is what I think that they're working on. And if that's taken away, that is a huge part of this dynamic TCU offense that I think will make it less dynamic. Because then you're back to pocket passer. Maybe you can scramble around, make something happen, and then inside-outside zone for running. So if they take away that option, which if I were a coach, that's what I would be doing if I wanted to win this game. If they do that, that seems like a less dynamic offense for me.
So that we're kind of flipping into what Georgia needs to do to win this game. And I totally agree. I think that's really important, is how effectively do you contain Max Duggan? And we saw Texas was one of the teams that was able to do it. Texas was one of the teams that were able to get in his face, were able to pressure him, and he wasn't able to, when things were developing downfield and they were covered perfectly, and as a defensive coordinator, you're like, hell yeah, we just called the right coverage. And then you see Duggan smart enough and wily enough to pull the trigger and pick up 7 yards on second and medium or third and long to pick up that first down. That's crucial. And I know that Georgia's super talented, but Michigan's also got a really good defense and they couldn't stop him. The other thing too, Sean, I think for Georgia, they got to turn over Duggan. Like the way that Michigan did it, and understandably they didn't win, but they got 2 picks off of Duggan. They need to produce those turnovers because Georgia's a very opportunistic team and an opportunistic offense. To shut them down with turnovers, I think is going to be really important for them in this game. And you can't let him get hot, I think is the big thing.
I don't think they're going to let him get hot. I don't. And that's just me being a pessimist. I'm sure that's my take on it, because I want so badly to see TCU do this, because I want so badly to see the Big 12 have a champion that I have to stay pessimistic right now. I already jinxed them once in the show. I'm not going to do it again. So that's why I'm taking this. I just think, I don't think the stage is going to be too big for Duggan. I think he's got a little bit of that Joe Burrow in him where he doesn't care the stage. He's a football player. He's a football player, and if you point him to a field, he will play the same no matter what. That's what I see from him, but that also doesn't mean that he can't be schemed to be beat.
The one thing, though, and Blake kind of brought this up, my co-host for the Rufino Joe show, he kept texting me this, that like he noticed that something was off with Duggan against Michigan, some type of injury that's unreported that he sustained against Kansas State. I'm hoping that that's cleared up for him, because that did kind of hold him back a little bit. But the issues that he had, he didn't play a perfectly clean game against Michigan. He can't play that game against Georgia. He just can't.
I don't know what Blake is referring to, because I saw Duggan make some insane passes with the pocket closing down on him.
He also threw two
Did you
picks.
see the 75-yard touchdown with a defender bearing down on him? He threw a sidearm.
Great play, because he's a tough SOB.
Yes,
he's a tough SOB.
I don't think he's hurt. I think Blake's trying to get some numbers going on the stream. That's what I think's going on.
Well, also Blake is the biggest TCU hater out there. He is, every time TCU has gone down.
He's an LSU guy.
I don't know. I think it's because I have been actually, when LSU was kind of on the edge, if they happened to beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, and had they not lost Texas A&M, there was a possibility that they made it.
How about you beat Florida State?
Right. But there was a possibility that they made it to the playoff. And I remember for those weeks, Blake, as much as I love him, was insufferable, because he was like, TCU shouldn't be ranked as high as they are. Why are they ranked as high as they are? They haven't beat anybody. And now that they beat Michigan was my one time to get the victory lap. But he is, any chance that he gets, he is going to take down and bash this TCU team. I respect him to the commitment. I absolutely respect the commitment. He's right on a lot of things.
We are homers, but we disguise it well.
I don't know if we do.
You don't, with your USC hatred because of Notre Dame. I'm not a homer for anyone in college football. I don't have that. I'll root for Tennessee, but I'm not. But the homerism and the gall to think that LSU would have beat Michigan in the semis, that is an insane take. I don't think that they would have. Absurd.
I don't think that they would have, but a 2-loss LSU team with a win over Georgia in the SEC championship game and over Alabama, like that has to get
in. If they beat Georgia in the SEC championship game, sure, but they got boat raced.
That they did, and we'll see. We're gonna find out technically if TCU's better than LSU based on how they perform in this game. I'm hoping that it's an actually competitive matchup. Although we sat and talked about how we were worried both those games were going to be blowouts, and that didn't happen. They were super competitive games. Sean, the last thing I just want to bring up with Georgia, though, I think it's so important for a team that's as talented as they are, and for a team that already won a national championship last year and has so many 5-star kids, so many first-round picks starting on this team. And this sounds so simple to say, but they need to just play their game. They can't press. They can't show up and think, we're going to beat the shit out of these guys. You need to respect your opponent because of the spontaneity, the chaotic nature that TCU plays with. And you have to, what I mean by don't press is get overly aggressive. They're not that overly aggressive team. They're just not. They're methodical on offense and defense. They chip away, they grind you out, and then come those final plays, that's how they beat you. And just getting ahead of yourself and being too pressed could hurt Georgia in this game. And that's what hurt them in Ohio against Ohio State.
Yeah. And then the whole Georgia is Michigan, but better narrative where they just are suffocating on defense. They can grind you and wear you out on offense. I don't know if that's true, because Georgia's playmakers are better. I think their quarterback is definitely better. Their defense is better, which doesn't bode great for TCU, because Magic team had a magic win against Michigan. But also, if Georgia really is a better Michigan, then why were they so close with Ohio State? So they were either overlooking Ohio State, and we saw how Michigan methodically beat the hell out of Ohio State in their matchup this year. So I don't think. I just keep on seeing it on my timeline. I'm not buying that Georgia is Michigan 2.0 better and just more talented. I think that Georgia is its own entity, whereas just a swarm defense and an offense, if they work through the tight ends, in this game, TCU doesn't have a shot.
Well,
TCU does not have a shot.
Darnell Washington might not play. He went out of the game with an injury, so that's something to monitor. Like you're talking about, like that's their bread and butter, and you kind of lose Darnell Washington, and you lose a layer of your offense that you've relied so heavily on.
Because who's the guy that Ryan's in love with? Was it Bowers?
Brock Bowers. Well, everyone's in love with Brock Bowers. Brock Bowers also should not have won the Mackey Award this year, but that's a separate talking point.
What is the Mackey Award? The best tight end?
Yeah.
It should have gone to Michael Mayer, I'm sure.
Michael Mayer had better stats than Brock Bowers. Okay.
You stink on ice. Well, how did I know? As soon as the best tight end in the nation wins an award and the second best tight end in the nation didn't win it, of course the second best tight end needed to. You and Blake are made for each other.
The second best tight end in the country had better stats than the alleged Brock Bowers,
and he's
really
going to be
talented.
watching the game
great.
Just like us on his couch.
Well, he's preparing for the NFL draft to be a top 15 pick, so he's not like us. Don't act like Michael Mayer's.
How many tight end luxury pick? How many top 15 teams need a tight end right now?
I think all of them would love to have Michael Mayer.
Sure.
You get Gronk 2.0, man. That's what you're getting with him. Sean, any closing thoughts on? Hey, go listen to my eval show on the channel, which I know you don't do. So, any closing thoughts on the game?
How many? Oh, you want to talk about that? Okay. Any closing thoughts? I got plenty of opening thoughts. Oh wait, I have to tape with Ryan after this.
I don't have to tape with Ryan. I have to tape a reaction to some news that's about to drop, though, which is very, very important.
Okay. I hate that voice is creepy. We're rooting for a good game. That's all we should be rooting for. We're rooting for TCU to keep it close in the fourth quarter. I don't think they're going to win. I think they're going to cover. I think TCU will cover because all I want to do is be right about the Magic team. And nobody wants to take the. I just don't want to see the money go to TCU. I want to see the money being laid on Georgia. I want to see everybody thinking about that. And then I could put some dough down and then win it and be happy on Monday night. I'm happy that they're bumping it up to 7:30. Go screw, Joe. The game should be earlier. It should never take place on a Monday. If it does, it should be at 7:30 on the Eastern time.
Are you going to go to Burger King before the game?
Maybe. Get 100 chicken nuggets for $10.
Oh my God, I remember when we did that. Sean and I did that for the Super Bowl one year, and we ate about 60 of them, and it might have been – and your fat ass ordered two sandwiches too, which might have been one of the most disturbing things I have ever seen a human
Super
being
Bowl was
do.
That? Which one did we watch?
It was perfectly fitting because it was that Rams-Patriots Super Bowl, and just like the slow grind of us eating those chicken nuggets and then feeling – progressively worse and worse. Actually, I think we ate more than 60 of those. I think there were like 20 left.
I think there were probably 30 left. I don't know.
We ate 75 to 80.
That was 10. What was it? 10 nuggets for $1. Jesus.
Everyone else at our school was having parties at their houses. They were in large groups watching the game, and then us, the two of us, ordered 100 chicken nuggets. And
we're the real sickos. That's what we were.
And if you'd come out here, we'd be doing that on Monday.
I thank God I'm not.
You'd be watching the game at 4:30. At Joe DeLeone, at Sanderson Radio. Drive safe, everybody. Enjoy your Burger King.